Welcome to another series of iCamp lessons. Today we have a very interesting question where we are required to solve for x without a calculator, and we are given 2 to the power of x plus 1 over 2 plus 2 to the power of x minus 3 over 2 equals to your root of 50. So this is your typical exponential equation for paper 1. Usually you find it in your exams, tests. So it's a very interesting question. It's usually 6 marks, such questions, and you need to make sure that you solve such questions without a calculator so that you don't lose any marks. So let's go ahead and try and solve this, right? So the first thing that we are going to try and do is decompose this, right? So we are going to try and decompose this to its simplest form. So we are going to have 2 to the power of x times 2 to the power of 1 over 2 plus 2 to the power of x times 2 to the power minus 3 over 2 equals to your root of 50 can also be written as the root of 25 times 2, right? And then now I want you to notice that you have 2 to the power of x and 2 to the power of x as common factors, right? So you are going to have to take that out, separate the 2 to the power of x as common factor. So this is your common factor, this is also your common factor, right? So now you are going to have 2 to the power of x, right, into, it's going to be 2 to the power of 1 over 2 plus 2 minus 3 to the power of minus 3 over 2 equals to, so your root of 25, right? Your root of 25 is going to be 5, and then your root of 2 is going to be root of 2, right? So you are going to have your 5 root 2, right? So here now you have something interesting, right, which is this one. So you need to solve this without a calculator. You need to simplify it without a calculator, right? And the best way we are going to do that is from your exponential laws, right? Anything raised to the power of half is the same thing as a square root, right? So if you have 2 to the power of 1 over 2, that's going to be the same thing as your root 2, right? Now let's go to the other one, which is your 2 to the power minus 3 over 2, right? So this can also be written as a 2 to the power of minus 1 over 2 times 3, right? So this, as you can see, it's going to be a square root, right? But it's going to be 1 over a square root because of the negative sign, right? Remember, if you have anything raised to the power of negative 1, that thing is going to be 1 over to the power of x, and then the sign changes, right? So let's go ahead and simplify this. So this in its simplest form, it's going to be 1 over, it's going to be 1 over the square root, right, of 2 to the power of 3, right, which essentially it's 1 over your square root of 8, right? So now you have two things. So you have that, which is in its simplest form, and you also have this, which is also in its simplest form. So we are going to go ahead now and try to substitute that into here and here. So we're still going to have your 2, right, to the power of x, right, over, it's still going to be 2 to the power of x into, you have your root of 2 plus 1 over your root of 8, right, which is equals to 5 root 2, right? Now we need to simplify your root 8, right? So your root 8 is the same thing as 4 times 2, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So your root of 8 is the same thing as root of 4 times root of 2. Okay, so I am going to have 2 to the power of x, right? All into, I still have my root 2 here, plus 1 over, this is going to be my root of 4 times 2, which is equals to 5 root 2, right? And then now I go on and simplify that, which is going to be 2 to the power of x into your root of 2 plus 1 over your root of 4. The root of 4 is going to be 2, and the root of 2 is going to be root 2. So I am going to have 2 root 2, right, equals to your 5 root 2, right? And then from here, right, this simply means that I also have to the over 1, right? So from here I can find the lowest common denominator, which is going to be what? Your 2 root 2. So my lowest common denominator is going to be your 2 root 2, and so I go ahead and try and do that. It's grade 9 mathematics, I think. Yeah, so now I'm going to have 2 to the power of x, right, open bracket, and then I still have my 2 root 2. I close my bracket, which is going to be your 5 root 2, right? So now I go and simplify that, right? How many times does 1 go into 2 root 2? Is going to be 2 root 2 times, right? And then 2 root 2 times root 2, right? And then I'm going to write that. So it's going to be 2 root 2 times root 2 plus sign. And then now, how many times does 2 root 2 go into 2 root 2? It's going to be 1. And then 1 times 1, it's going to be 1. Right? And then from here, I can go on and simplify, right? So I am going to have 2 to the power of x, right? And then here, I'm going to have 2 root 2 times 2 root 2 is going to be 2. And 2 times 2 is going to be 4. Right, so I am going to be left with 2 root 2 and 4 plus 1 equals to your 5 root 2, right? And then this is going to be your 2 to the power of x all over 5. 5 over 2 root 2 equals to your 5 root 2. And now let's go to the next page and try to simplify this further. And then copy. Right, now I can just divide by 5 over 2 root 2 on both sides, so that I'll be left with 2 to the power of x only, right? So I am going to divide by 5 over 2 root 2 on both sides. Divide by 5 over 2 root 2, right? And then this and that will cancel, and then I'll be left with 2 to the power of x on the left hand side, and then I'll be having 5 root 2. I'm going to write it in this way now: 5 over 2 root 2. I'm writing it this way so that I don't confuse myself, right? Then I can go on and simplify. I still have 2 to the power of x equals to your 5 root 2. So I am going to change the sign to a multiplication sign. What happens when you change a division to multiplication? The numerator becomes the denominator becomes the numerator. So this is going to be times 2 root 2 over 5, right? And then on my left hand side I still have 2 to the power of x equals to I will have my 5 times 2, right? And then your 2 root 2 times root 2 is going to be 2 all over 5, right? And then from here I would have 2 to the power of x equals to 5 times 2 is 10, times 2 is going to be 20 over 5, right? And then I'll be left with 2 to the power of x equals to 20 divided by 5. 20 divided by 5 is 4, right? And then from here I can just simply have 2 to the power of x equals to 2 to the power of 2. And then if I have the same basis, what happened to the exponents? I equate the exponents, right? I'm going to equate the exponents. Okay, it's not doing it properly. I'm going to equate this and that, right? So I am going to have x equals to 2, right? And that's my final answer. Great. So now let's move on to the next question.